Hi everyone, and you guys already have first saw my first two videos, but I don't think what I'm saying is not really that clear enough. Anyway, let me just say this from the beginning. Around almost 2 years ago, around November 2016, I have never seen a certain co-worker to act like a bully, and yet mostly like a jerkwad. No offense to anyone else here, I already have seen that before. So, ever since the time when I started to get harassed on the job by a certain customer, that was during the time when my fiance was really there the whole time. Kind of like a couple months before he got wrongfully banded. Even when a certain coworker like Dinky, the same person I was talking about before previously, a couple years back or so. I don't know what he kind of thinks about ignoring how I was feeling. Because the way that guy I got encountered, I don't like the vibes he was giving off to me. And plus, everything he said about me was giving me the creeps. About the last very week of December 2016, I began to notice that he's starting to act heartless. And he's starting to act so thoughtless about how I was feeling. And I have never seen that side of himself being so disbelievable. Even though that really hurts me a lot deep down, I decided to talk to David about what happened. About in the beginning of January 2017, a whole new year, I've been noticing that Dinky started to change a lot. And his kind of encounterment with a certain coworker who isn't actually a janitorial member, that person turned out to be a security member. And for whatever a sick, crazy reason, Dinky got into one crazy confrontation with her. Well, she's a security female, but who's at least an Italian. But whatever, it's kind of like a crazy workplace drama, you know? Until I'm starting to piece it all together, I found out something even bad happened. David got wrongfully banned by her. Well, it's kind of like a trick, and we found out sometime later in 2017, and he kind of found out the hard way. And of course, I listened to him. He got framed by her all because that he was suicidal, but he wasn't. And when I started to begin to realize, before he got wrongfully banned, well, Dinky, he had a confrontation with that lady. And every few times, just after he already knew and everyone knew that David got wrongfully banned, I've been starting to note that there was a developing change in that coworker. Dinky, I have no idea or the clue. He started to do something that makes me feel even extremely uncomfortable. He became like a jerk. He has been bossing me around. He has been making me feel extremely uncomfortable by saying something that isn't true behind my back. And criticizing me if I didn't do my job. And he's invading my personal space whenever I was having a phenomenal problem with my body. While having stomach cramps. And it's starting to make me feel uneasy about it. And he didn't even care. And he will be like, I don't care, just do your job. And I never even recall him saying, I don't care, just do your job. Or I have been trying to tell you multiple times. It just didn't seem to matter what I'm saying. I have already been trying to tell him and trying to speak up for myself multiple times to him, but instead he refused to hear me out. And you all could see at least 2 of my blog videos that I have said about over a couple years ago already. Well, I'm not done with this. So, the time when I got pretty much gained up, not only by Dinky, but also by Red Ant. By the time when I started to cry, my fiance saw how awful I felt. And how upset I was. And I was crying in tears in front of Cinemark and in front of the food court, when nobody was around. By the time when he picked me up from work, and I was crying in tears inside the car while he was driving me back home. He had to ask what was really wrong, and I had to explain to him about what really did happen to me that very night. When he knew something is not right, he convinced me just to get them to be voice recorded. And he's right, because what they were doing was not okay, and what they did was unforgivable. And my friends who are anonymous, they're pretty much right, and other anonymous as well that I was talking to, they were right as well. Sometime later in the spring, well, Dinky was added again, but this time, well, let's just say, this is gonna shock everybody, that he started to use hardcore profanity in front of the public food court. And it was in front of everyone in the food court, of the workers who works at Charlie's, Chick-fil-A, and you name the rest. And it's also in front of some high schoolers and college, and almost everybody, like the tourists, and especially the locals. And yet, thanks to Dinky, he literally embarrassed me in front of everybody. And he also said hardcore profanity right out loud all about what the exact security lady have said to him. But instead, the night supervisor, he tried to explain and calm everything down. And I was only the first person who's actually a good, harder worker to be first to apologize to everybody. And by the time when I got back to the break room and talked to Red Ant with another good apple of the team, but it's not the bad apple, it's a good apple. I have never seen Red Ant refuse to know. And the thing is, Red Ant and Dinky never noticed. About weeks later, I found out thanks to Dinky attitude, it helps somebody else who's a college student to be cyberbullying a young person right on the phone. And as much as I really want to believe what they're doing might be pretty much their weakness, as where everybody else say it's only part of the workplace, and you think it's really okay, but it's not okay, not in an environment. And when I found out something's been going on, it's pretty much passed on like a wildfire. And of course, I got that on recorder. And as much as I'm trying to find it, it's hard for me to look it all over from my house, inside my house. Until I had no choice but use the recorder on my app. I just need to talk to the new boss about not only what Dinky did, what Red Ant did as well. And as much as I've been trying to tell them to stop, they wouldn't even believe it. Even if I told them what they're doing, they would probably think what they're doing can be cool, and it would be the good idea for everybody else in the workplace. If they keep acting like the boss of me and the boss of everybody, lately their anger has been all about them with their own hatred and pride. And if they didn't know how many people are leaving, everyone's gonna mark this place down as the bad place that you can ever work at. Even if I knew if I made a bad wrong move or one big mistake in front of Dinky or Big Ant or Red Ant, you guys can give out the name, but remain them as two anonymouses, they wouldn't believe what they have done to me was cross the line. And for those who have already saw my journal, you probably heard about what happened. And you may want to click the link right below in the descriptions. To me, on the other hand, at that very moment, it's like they're never going to stop until they're fully satisfied and they're done. But to me, they're never going to be stopped or done with. But however, it has to be stopped. And because about what I did was trying to do the right thing for my fiance's sake and for the anonymous sakes, I can't hide that feeling anymore. So, during that very summer, you guys can see it as the date as rated on June 2017. You already have heard about what's going on. I have talked to my fiance and everybody else about what happened on Messenger. And the only thing that happened that very night, that very same evening, two certain guys, Dinky and Ant. That very evening, I was really confused about where they need me to be, and I thought I am going to get over with the night so I can just finish where I left off again. And of course, I was really confused about who's going to do what for who, and it's hard for me to communicate with them, and they're starting to freak me out a lot. And the only thing is, I usually do my own usual routine nightly. only in the evening, and I always work in the evening shift, just with the same people. And then later that night, I've been noticing that somebody else left the door open where the interest of the dealer swing might be. And I was about to ask any one of them some questions, and that includes with Dinky and Ant. However, you guys can hear about the voice clips on the links below there, and you can see them on the stash.